Today we will go over the requirement for documenting a project's ties to the local water surface and the difference between the operating datum and NAVD88. These are needed to make a project compliant to the Engineering Regulation 8160. Let's go to the CCTT tab and check the status of the project. So let's click on the CEPD CCTT tab, and here we can see a list of projects. It gives us a little summary of their status. We can see how many control points they have, if they have any connections to the water surface or gauges, if they have any connections to the legacy datum. So let's do a search for the Inner Harbor Navigation Canal. Let's type in a partial name, something that's unique, into the search box and click the Go button. Now the project status report contains only those projects that have Inner Harbor in one of their text fields. Click on the little notebook icon to bring up the project summary report. This report also shows the status. You can see if there's any documents associated with this project. All right, let's look down on the report. And so scroll down a bit. Here we can see a table of all of the associated project control, a tally of the number of horizontal and vertical control points, both local and primary. The project map shows the location of the project and its associated project control. You can see currently this project has a yellow star, which means it's an unknown status. And scroll down a bit more, and you can see that the project is not connected to any gauge or have any connections to the legacy vertical datum. We need to make those connections on any of the associated control points. For this example, we'll use ALCO. Go to the project control points table and click on the PID of the point you want to edit. This will bring you to the points details page. Click on edit to enter the information in. And these datum connections are made on the Title Gauge Legacy Datum tab. On this tab, you can define the point's relationship to the water surface. This may be the title datum, such as mean low water or the local pool, etc. Also, this is where you can add in elevations relative to the datum used for operations and maintenance, which in many cases is NGVD 29. This is the datum considered to be the legacy datum. Enter in the elevation of the control point relative to the datum to make the connection. This is what USmart uses to develop the relationships between NAVD88 and any other datum used in the project. So what we're doing here is documenting the various elevations of the control point. Its NAVD88 elevation, its elevation relative to the local water surface, and its elevation relative to the datum used for design, operations, and maintenance, etc. The connection to the water surface must also include a gauge. This adds the metadata for the water surface. This can be a USACE owned and operated gauge, or one from NOAA or USGS. This point is next to a NOAA gauge and has an elevation of 6.67 feet above mean low water. So let's enter in the elevation for mean low water and all of the metadata associated with that. The units on this tab must be the same as on the vertical tab. The datum should be selected from the combo box. If the datum is not included, select custom value and enter it in. Here we select mean low water from the pull down combo box. Put in its ID and enter in the epoch if it's available. Remember that all coastal navigation projects must be using the latest published national title datum epoch from NOAA. I'll also add in a record for the points elevation reference to mean low gulf. This is the local datum used by operations and maintenance. And finally, the NGVD 29 elevation for Alco. Once you've added in the data, click the Save button, double check your values, and then hit the Approve button. Close the Browsers tab if the Details page was opened in a new tab. Some browsers do this and you want to clean up as you go. So back on the Project Summary page, you'll need to refresh the browser to show the changes in the database. You can now see the connection to the gauge and other datums and the average difference between NAVD88 and those datums. If you have multiple elevations on several points, the differences are averaged in this table. So this project now has a required number of control points and a connection to the local water surface. The last bit of information required by the ER is the documentation of the relationship to the legacy datum. We have already added a record for Alco's mean low gulf elevation. Now we just need to indicate that this is the project's legacy datum. Select the legacy datum from the combo box. If the datum doesn't exist on the list, you have to type it in the field. And then click Save. The page will refresh, and if everything is entered properly, you'll now see that the status of the project is compliant. The LS star has now turned into a circled blue star, meaning that the project is compliant. In this example, we used a single point to connect to several datums. Your project may use connections at several points. Just keep in mind that you need 3 project control points, one of which is in the NSRS, a connection to your legacy datum, and a connection to the water surface to make a project compliant.